Rincha. I work as a project manager at Westpac Banking Corporation, and I graduated last year from UTS with a Bachelor of IT.
So Rincha, can you describe your role as a project manager at Westpac?
So as a project manager, you facilitate a lot of the work that needs to be done in a project. So it's about getting the right people in the right room, getting them to do the work and commit to deadlines, and it has a lot of people engagement. So you do have to have those strong communication skills, and you do need to be on top of your deadlines, and you're constantly making sure that the project's running to schedule, to budget, to scope and everything like that.
Were the university skills that you gained more or less useful in this workplace?
So in university, it really depends what kind of job you go into, but a lot of the skills that you do develop through university can be used throughout your career. So an example of that would be presentation skills, or group meetings for big group assignments, just time management and things like that. Those skills are valuable no matter what kind of job you do. But say you were looking to be a more technically focused person, maybe the programming subjects at uni would help. But overall, soft skills are the best skills that you'll learn in university that will carry on no matter what profession you choose.
Describe one of your typical work days.
So a typical work day, I would come in the morning and spend about half an hour, 40 minutes reading my emails, just catching up on anything that happened overnight or over the weekend. And the rest of my work day is usually filled with a lot of meetings. So these meetings are mainly to make sure that the right people are in the right place doing the right work, and we're just setting up checkpoints to make sure that the project's going to deliver on time and successfully. And as a project manager, a lot of your time is also spent engaging the right stakeholders. So if there is a piece of work that needs to be done, it's your job as a project manager to make sure that you do have the right people there doing that work, and you do have the right people that need to be making the decisions or things like that. So apart from meetings, a lot of the time goes into finding the right people, talking to them, building a rapport with them sometimes, and things like that.
Can you describe any previous work experience that helped you with your current job right now?
So I did 2 6-month internships while I was at university. My first internship was actually at Westpac, and I worked as a business analyst there. And a business analyst, the work you do is very analytical. You're doing a lot more of the documentation and the reporting, and actually writing and typing and finding out things, whereas project manager, you manage what needs to be done more. And both of my 6-month internships, I worked as a business analyst. My second internship was at American Express, and I did business analyst work there as well.
So your passion to become a project manager after graduating?
So project management is always something I've wanted to get into. As an intern, I find that a lot of companies are very hesitant to give you so much responsibility. It really depends on the company you go into, but seeing project managers in my internships, I've always wanted to do their work more than the business analyst work I was doing. So yeah, it was kind of, a passion for me to go into this line of work.
Describe the IT sector of Westpac.
So Westpac as a corporation has a lot of other companies and different departments underneath it. So group technology is its own little section, and within group technology there are things like security or risk and things like that all come under technology as a whole. I sit within infrastructure, and within infrastructure I sit specifically within infrastructure transformation. So that's when the infrastructure or the hardware of Westpac is getting moved or transformed or changed in some ways. All those projects come through infrastructure transformation, and so I'm a project manager that works on those projects.
Challenging being a woman in this workforce?
I feel like the younger generation, there is a lot more of a 50-50 split, or close to 50-50 split, with how many females are going into the industry. So when we see new grads and new entry-level workers come in, there is a fair, even amount of both genders, so that makes it very, very easy. But you do find a lot of the older generations that work are predominantly male. So it can be intimidating at times as a young new person as well as a female in the workforce when you're sitting in a meeting room full of older males that are a lot more experienced than you. But I think it really depends on the culture of the organisation you're going into. So I find at Westpac they're very, very welcoming. There's none of that, they don't tolerate, discrimination or anything, as most organisations do. So there are workarounds around that. But I do think, like any industry you go in, there are always challenges, no matter what gender you are, what race you are. It always has its own challenges. So there are sometimes it can be difficult or it can be a bit challenging, but I think the younger generations are working to even out the rate of employees that are male and female in the industry. So that really helps.
So what are the negative aspects of this role?
I find that as a project manager, you're given a lot of the responsibility and sometimes not enough of the credit, so that can be a little bit disheartening at times, but it's important to remember that you are working for the project, you're working with a team and you're a team player, and you're not the sole person that's done all the work or anything like that. Apart from that, it can be a little bit tight deadlines and high pressure depending on what kind of project and what kind of team you're in. So it really varies from project to project what negative aspects I guess there are from your day to day.
That's it. So tell us one of your biggest challenges you faced at work.
So I was on a project where I was really unclear about what the objectives and the task was. And as a project manager and as a young person in the workforce, one of the biggest challenges that you're going to face is not fully understanding or not fully knowing what to do, and you don't want to disappoint your bosses or you don't want to come off as a bad employee, so it does get a bit stressful. So one of the biggest challenges that I think I face even today is not being 100% sure, but it has a really easy workaround. It's very, very common, more common than you think, that people are unclear about things or unsure what things might mean or what needs to be done. So it's very, very easy to ask questions, and that's something that I continue to do every day. I always ask questions and I always clarify what things mean, and I find that a lot of the time that when I ask for clarity on something, someone else in the room doesn't know what it means, or someone else needed the same clarity. So one of my biggest challenges would be, I guess, working around not knowing what to do or not knowing what something means, and having the confidence to ask and clarify.
Piece of advice for your juniors, what would it be?
I would say to find what you like, what kind of work you like, and run with that. Because if you're ever stuck in a job that you find that you're not enjoying, or you find that you're struggling with, you're never going to be really happy getting up and going to work every day. And at the end of the day, after university and everything, no matter what you do, your career is going to be pretty much lifelong. So you're better off doing something that you like. And it's better now when you're in uni to find out what you do and don't like. And you can do that, through your subjects, just trial and error, or go do internships and things like that. But whichever way you do it, just find out early on what you do like or what you are good at and work with that.
So why did you choose IT as your career path?
So in high school, I did IPT, and I found that was a really interesting subject. So the content was really dry, but when we were learning things and actually going on the computer, I was really interested in it. And I got really into coding at first, which I thought was really cool. But when I got into uni, I found that I didn't like it as much. In my first semester, I realised I didn't like it as much, and I started getting more into the business IT side of things, or the management IT side of things. And from then, it's just been a little bit more clear to me that technology is always changing, and the future is going to be very technology based, and there's always going to be jobs, and it's so big, the field. So IT is really big as a field, and you can build a career in the entire field. So you don't have to go from business into IT and then swap out to something else. Just having that base in IT will give you enough understanding and knowledge to be able to keep up with technology trends and things like that.
So thank you so much for being part of our project. It's a pleasure working with you.
It was nice to meet you.
Thank you so much.
Bye. Bye, class.